because I wasn't violent. I wasn't a violent teenager. Like a lot of the more violent kids, they would lock up and, put them in, the security level was a little bit higher.
So it wasn't necessarily every year though, but you were in and out from 13 to 19.
Yeah,
basically.
it was probably 6 or 8, 10 months out of almost every year I was in a program. And then I would complete the program, I'd get out, I would do good for a few months, and then I'd violate my probation. And because I had really nowhere to stay, every time I would get picked up by the cops and I would go into the juvenile hall, like the maximum security, and I'd go and see the judge, and they were like, okay, well, where can we send him? He doesn't have a house to go to, so we have to put him into a fucking program. We have to put him into boys' home. We have to put him into,
Did you ever call your mom?
Plenty of times. And she told me, my mother called me on my 17th birthday, and she told me that I'm no longer her responsibility because the state of Florida recognizes me as an adult at the age of 17. So I'm no longer her responsibility. On my 17th birthday, I got that phone call. Not that I didn't already know, you know what I mean? But I guess she just felt like she had to make it official, to like, no, so now don't call me for anything else ever. And I haven't spoken to my mother at this point. I haven't spoken to or seen my mother since 2010.
That's a lot to deal with, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you take it so...
It's fine.
Matter of fact.
It's fine. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, because listen, I focus on the things in life that make me happy. I don't focus on all of the trauma and all of the past events and like all of the, what could have been relationship with my mother and my family. All of that's done. It is what it is. Like I benefit nothing from revisiting or even letting any of that affect me.
But at some point in the last few years, you did recognize your own PTSD and everything. So did some of that come up when you did that?
Now, yeah, because you're churning, all of that old shit up, and I've been so good at compartmentalizing over the years that, opening some of those cabinets does, some of those feelings obviously are automatically going to come up to the, the feeling of rejection, Absolutely. The feeling of isolation, the feeling of being alone. Neglect, all of those things, all of those feelings. But when those feelings pop up, I understand how to deal with them. You process them, and then you figure out what triggered that emotion, and then you move on.
I can't believe you're alive and or that you're not like an almost dead drug addict.
Oh, I know.
I'm gonna be honest. Man. And I think that's in spite of some of the big mistakes you made along the way. I think that's actually pretty incredible.
Oh, I by all means, right now I'm supposed to be a homeless, crazy drug addict, or doing like a 50 or 60 year prison bid.
Yeah,
or I'm supposed to be dead. By all intents and purposes, those were the 3 avenues that I'm supposed to be. I've just, like I said, I've just been extremely fortunate enough to always. I hate calling myself intelligent because I really don't feel like I'm that intelligent. I've always been able to see what other people have not been able to see. If that makes any kind of sense.
You definitely, it's very clear, talking with you and knowing you a little bit, you have a high degree of day-to-day emotional intelligence, of understanding other people. You also live in there was a time in your life where every single thing you had to do was a lie. So you live in a constant state of, you've been in a period of your life now for 5-10 years where you're telling the truth on things. It's not comfortable for
everything.
you.
No, I hate it.
It's not. And I can tell because I can see, I'll tell you, even just sitting here, I can see where a wall comes up and okay, he's not totally telling me the truth there. And then 2 minutes later, you kind of do a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like you want, and that's a very admirable thing. But to not have any even understanding of that until you were in your 30s, like really thinking about it, is also actually probably a blessing.
Because now, trust me, it would have fucking buried me. It was for my own, out of just pure survival that I couldn't deal with those emotions.
Right.
I couldn't because it would have fucking ruined me. And and like I said, now I'm starting to unpack everything in retrospect and kind of, because now I'm making decisions in my life that are detrimental to my success, and I'm doing it on autopilot.
You always had been.
And now I'm trying to figure out, why. What's the mechanism behind the decisions that I'm making without actually being able to think about what I'm doing before I make the decision that's having this negative effect on my life. So now it's like I have to start dealing with all of this shit that I've been suppressing for 20 or 30 years because, now I have the next 20 or 30 years to look forward to, and all of this shit is going to pop up at inconvenient times and ruin opportunities and, things for me. So now I have to start dealing with a lot of this shit.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
pretty heavy.
you know, you think about we get some of these experiences through documentaries and movies and books, right? Like people like me that had I would say relatively just normal upbringing, 2 parents, they didn't even divorce, which is like great in today's times as well. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty rare.
yeah, I have a lot of friends whose parents divorced. That's certainly something there. It's you're on a whole different level,
Yeah.
you know. And so we hear about something like this, and again, I'll always say it, but just trying to, I in these conversations do my best. I can't, but I do my best to put as much of myself in this case, your shoes, as I can, and it's not. I mean, it's very hard to be in any way an empathetic person and judge someone like you for where you're at. And also, let's be honest here, you're not a murderer, you're not a rapist.
I'm not a violent person.
Right?
I'm not a violent person that harms people.
Right.
Like I can't do that.
There is a huge difference.
Yeah.
to
I
be
may have been a
honest.
thief at one point in time in my life where I stole a lot, but it was, it was not a malice.
Yes, exactly. That and I look at with everyone, I don't care who you are, great person, bad person, indifferent. I do look at intent. I make a lot of judgments on intent.
Yeah.
Like I'll sit there and tell Matt, like, he didn't have to do this stuff. His intent was bad, and I make a judgment on what a bad person he was doing it.
Yeah.
That's why I respect where he's at now and how he looks at things.
Yeah.
He was not a good person at all.
Yeah.
And it's not to say like, oh, you were an amazing person, John, printing credit cards and shit. It's not that, but it's like, what the fuck else did you know?
Yeah.
What other like we talk about choices in life, and yes, you technically do have one, as I said at the outset of our conversation, but like, what choice do you really have? Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.